This is KAMR in Amarillo.
The first wave of troops return from the Persian Gulf, and the president promises 5,000 more will return every day for the next 5 months.
And this group of former POWs is heading home to the U.S. Sunday. Our top stories tonight on News 4.
And now, Brent Boynton, Barry Hughes, Roy McCoy's weather, and Steve Sain's sports. This is News 4.
Good evening. Thousands of U.S. soldiers say it's good to be home.
They're the first to come back from the Persian Gulf, but the Pentagon promises a steady stream of homecomings through July 4th. Sandy Gilmore reports on the yellow ribbons, brass bands, and teary-eyed welcomes across the nation.
For 900 members of the 82nd Airborne Division stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, the war was over. They were the first ground troops sent into Saudi Arabia. They'd been gone 7 months. Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, F-15 jets of the 1st Tactical Fighter Wing roared in at noon.
I'm overwhelmed that he's home.
The pilots were followed by hundreds of support troops.
The people of America, the people of the United States are just the greatest people.
At Fort Stewart, Georgia, the long wait ended for friends and loved ones of members of the 24th Infantry Division. The first soldiers from the 24th came home just after midnight, a tumultuous scene of fathers and sons, husbands and wives, and children. Second Lieutenant Peter Moore spoke for many.
I grew up in the Vietnam era, and I realized that the American people have kind of healed themselves from all. So it's nice. It's good to be home.
There was also great sadness for those who came home to rest. At Arlington National Cemetery, full military honors for Army Private First Class Robert Doherty, Jr. of Hollywood, Florida. In all, the Pentagon said more than 4,000 troops returned today to Fort Stewart, Georgia, and bases in Texas, California, Maine, North Carolina, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and Louisiana. And Defense Secretary Cheney says as many as 5,000 will come back each day from now until July 4th, which has been named by President Bush a special day of celebration. For now, home at last. Sandy Gilmore, NBC News, Washington.
Home sweet home never seemed so real as it did last night for Army Private Cliff Wilson. He returned from the Persian Gulf. Wilson was met by members of Operation Heartshield and anxious wife Jennifer and their 9-month-old son Chance.
They get to come home to something like this.
The happiness, though, is bittersweet. Wilson came home early because his younger brother was killed in a car accident.
Defense Secretary Dick Cheney and Joint Chiefs Chairman Colin Powell will head the welcoming committee when 21 former POWs arrive in Washington Sunday. The former POWs shown here in Bahrain earlier this week to be reunited with their families. Then they'll be looked over by doctors and interviewed by military intelligence specialists. The wife of one former POW says she's counting the minutes before her husband's arrival. Marine Lieutenant Colonel Clifford Acree lost 25 pounds while in captivity. His wife says she's looking forward to fattening him up.
A 35-year-old defendant in a capital murder trial pulled gun on a state district judge today in Fort Worth. James Eugene Bigby slipped from the bailiff's grasp during a brief recess in the trial. He then reached for a gun behind State District Judge John Leonard's bench and went into the judge's chambers. Bigby pointed a gun at the judge.
I got in the hall next to the women in the floor, and they were just hysterical, saying that the psychiatrist had just testified against the guy, and one of the ladies said that they thought he had that plan. They were just hysterical, and that he had the gun on the judge in chambers. They were just screaming and hysterical. They had a gun, telling everybody, get out, get out, get out.
A prosecuting attorney grabbed Bigby by the neck, and Judge Leonard took the gun away from him. Bigby is accused of fatally shooting 26-year-old Michael Treckle and drowning his infant son in 1987. If convicted, Bigby could receive the death penalty.
A state grievance committee is accusing a Randall County assistant district attorney of alleged professional misconduct. Bonnie Markley was handed a 24-page disciplinary petition on Thursday. The petition was filed by a grievance committee of the State Bar of Texas. Markley's alleged misconduct